Hi everyone, I'm Tom Moss 34 with your forecast weather discussion. Well, today is October 19th, 2011. Did want to highlight that we do have a nor'easter coming into the area here as we head on to Thursday of next week, this coming week here. We are talking about some coastal impacts being flooding at the time of high tide, and of course you got the beach erosion, you got gusty winds as well to contend with along the immediate shoreline. You make your ways a little bit inland. Well, of course, to some extent that moisture will be reaching you. The bigger question is, because it's a nor'easter, they are oftentimes referred to as the storms that straddle the coast, and obviously the impacts will be felt inland in the terms of clouds, wind, and maybe some lighter precipitation, but how far inland we just don't know yet, as that's usually dependent on how far out to sea the actual area of low pressure forms. Now let me explain to you why this is so interesting. This is not your average nor'easter. As you know, it's October, it's a transition month. We are now getting into the colder months here in New England, and that really is a big concern, because we do have some pretty cold air that will be in place once this storm system, once this nor'easter gets here. And depending on how far inland that moisture spans, we could see some snowfall in the higher elevations with this nor'easter. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. But like I said, we're in that transition month, and it looks like some sufficient cold air will be in place. Nights maybe even below freezing in the highest elevations up in the Berkshires, the White Mountains, Green Mountains, and of course that includes Mount Washington as well, up in northern New Hampshire. That's the highest peak in New England, Mount Washington is. And then we have Mount Katahdin, that is in Maine, and then we have Mount Greylock, the three prominent high peak ranges in New England, all in jeopardy here to see potentially some snow from this storm system. And of course, this time of year, this early in the year, we're always talking about elevation, because you know, you typically have a better chance of seeing snow the higher you are in elevation, especially this early in the year, versus somebody that is maybe closer to the sea level. So with that in mind, it's something we'll keep an eye on. A large part of this system, in determining if we'll see the snow, it depends on the track of the low, because sometimes even nor'easters, they like to produce their own warm air and deflect it on the shore. But you know what? In most cases, you get a nor'easter, and depending on how close it is to shore, and you know, that really does make a difference, because when you're talking about the potential for snow with this system, you're talking about that snow only at high elevations, but this is a coastal storm, so meaning the highest impacts are sustained generally on the coast in terms of the wind and the rain and most of the precipitation. But if the storm decides that it wants to drive a little closer to the coast, that makes it more interesting, because now that allows that precipitation to span more inland and more into those higher elevations of New England, which is obviously, you know, way up there. And when you're talking about a coastal storm, that's the biggest question. Where is the low going to set up, and how far inland will that moisture span? We know we have the cold air in place. We just need to know how far inland that moisture will span to give us you know, to tell us really, hey, is this going to turn out, or is this, are we not going to see any type of snowfall? Maybe not, but we'll have to wait and see. There's definitely something to watch, and I caution everybody, if you like snow, including myself, you know, maybe head up inland. Go, you know, if you live in Massachusetts, you know, take the drive a little bit north, maybe New Hampshire, to Mount Washington. We're going to see some snow maybe up there, and now no doubt in my mind, if the precipitation spans north into Mount Washington, we will see snow there. There is 100% certainty of that, just because of your high elevation. But anyway, south of there, you're talking about rain, and again, that's if the moisture extends that far north. We know there's going to be rain on the shoreline because that is why they call it a nor'easter. Because it lies along the northeast coast and it really bashes them with rain and wind, right? But how far inland is that moisture going to reach? And, are we going to get cold enough? I think we'll come close in northern New England. So we're going to get some cold temperatures. That's for sure. And if it's cold enough, we'll see some snow from this storm system. Now, probably 80% of us, 85 even, are probably going to see this storm in the form of rain. But, hey, making this video for the 10 or 15% that end up seeing that snow. And I think there will be at least 1 or 2 places that do. So, we had so far an above average October, so this will be a pretty interesting scenario. But we'll wait and see. Town Mile 34. That's your latest weather discussion for today.